Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm your host, Jeff Howard, and I'm very happy to have Enrique A. Mendoza with me right here in person. Hey, Enrique.
Hi, man. Nice to be here.
It is great to have you here. All right, so we met. I'll just say, this is one of the cool things. I can always remember the day we met because we met at the Sherman Oaks FIlm Festival Opening Night Gala.
Yes.
And I have bad eyesight. So I was trying to find all the filmmakers at the gala to introduce myself. So I was looking at badges, but I had to look really close. And I looked at yours and I said, "Oh, you made Fervor." And you went, "Oh, no, I asked you." And you said, "I directed Fervor." And in my dumb American brain, I didn't connect that the word fervor and fervor are the same words. So
it is. So it's actually very tied to the film itself because, like the story is very like the clash between these two cultures.
It does have that, yeah.
So we're like, and also like, fervor is like this collection of emotions all at once, which is kind of like how we leave our hero at the end. Just the name just landed perfectly. It was by coincidence. I was talking to a friend, and they were like, "I don't know how
to." It totally captures really what both characters are feeling, really.
Yeah.
Because even though the other character, like clearly, it's an intense. It's an intense film. It's a film about an intense moment between two people. Well, we can leave it at that if you don't want to give spoilers.
Yeah. And that's the part that like I love it because by chance I was like talking to a friend and they're like, I don't know how to call this film. Like I wrote this entire film without a title. In my head it was like a revenge desert story. That's how I used to call it because I didn't have a name. And I was talking to this guy and like we were trying to figure out a name and we're like, what's a good word that embodies this whole thing? And the fact that it works in Spanish and English, we're like, oh my God, this is like perfection. This works so great for this.
Well, Fervor was an official selection at the Sherman Oaks FIlm Festival in 2024, and it took home the Programmer's Prize for Exceptional Filmmaking, which wait, did you not know?
I didn't know that.
Okay.
I just learned this today.
This happens. I should like do the math and find out the percentage. I mean, we send out an email. We send out at least 2 emails announcing all the award winners.
Oh,
and even making that offer to get a trophy or plaque made. It's funny. And then people come on the podcast and I name the award they won, and they look at me and go, "I won."
I think like I have a proposal. We should have an award ceremony. I know you do it for screenwriters because they deserve to have their spot. And I appreciate that. I'm not a writer, but there's a lot of projects that I do that comes from writers, and they don't get enough credit because the story would not exist without them. So I like highlighting them, but I think like should be like a moment where you have people there to say like, okay, we're gonna like award this to people, and then just like you can just like make it like a list and just say it.
I mean, this podcast is supposed to be all about you. But how am I not going to talk about the film festival I run? That's like, a bit of a, it's obviously a passion project, running a nonprofit for indie film. And it's tricky. The reason is that we have members of the award juries who do watch the films at the theater to catch them a second time. Because I actually prefer to fill out my ballot after the screenings at the theater because multiple viewings, you always get more out of a film.
Yeah.
And then to be in there with an audience and feeling how the audience reacts kind of is helpful too. But you're totally right. I should stop babying the jury members and say, you've got to get your ballot in 1 week before the festival so that we can announce. That's why we actually don't know who's going to win what at the festival. We don't know till the week after.
Okay.
And here's why you didn't receive the email, is that our festival is the first weekend of December. And then we're sending out the awards a week later, and everyone's getting ready for Christmas.
Holiday break kicks in. Holidays for me is like I have to go to Guatemala, back home, like stay with family. So like I completely detach myself from a lot of stuff that happens in the U.S. back then. To me, it's like kind of like block all these like
that's healthy.
Yeah, so like you just focus on like being with family, eating like the food that I grew up eating, like seeing old friends. Like, yeah, I really detached myself.
Well, that's wonderful. All right, so that's a great segue though.
Hey.
Guatemala, born and raised.
Yes.
And did you get into film there?
No.
Okay.
So this is
I'm looking forward to this story. And wait, is Fervor available online yet, or you're still on your festival circuit?
No, we just wrapped up festivals. It's available online now, mostly on my Vimeo channel, because I really appreciate like how they manage this thing. Even though,
so I highly recommend people go watch it. So they should. We can make it a clickable link to the Vimeo
perfect,
channel.
Yeah.
So we'll
that would be fantastic. Yeah, I would like people to watch it. Like I think it's like
check the show notes, click on the link, hit pause, watch the film, and then listen to everything else Enrique says after watching the film. Like that's the cool way to do it.
So this is like a good spot to do the spoiler alert. Like, go watch the film. Everything that we're going to discuss from this moment on is probably going to have a lot of spoilers.
It's up to you if we do spoilers or not. Because Lord knows there's a lot of lazy people who won't pause and go watch. They'll just keep listening.
In my head, we already did the warning. We can just go ahead and spoil the film.
The film, I mean, I say this about nearly all the films in our festival because we have really high standards. They all get better with every viewing. Like, I don't even know if you can spoil it.
Okay.
You know I
just
want to
be like, really discuss
because
all the emotional
it's the performances and the story, and the like, you know what I mean? Like, even if you know, I mean, it's not predictable, but you know what I mean? Like, but I totally understand the first time but by the way, the first time I watch everything, I don't even read the synopsis. I don't read where they're from. I don't want to know anything. I just want to let the film speak for itself.
Oh, you're going to be very excited about the new project. Okay.
Oh, nice. Yes.
But going back to Guatemala.
Yeah.
I've always been on the creative side. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at like science. But I like playing with things. I always play with technology. Like I used to like build computers with a friend by just for fun, just to learn. He was the one that actually will build it. I would be like, oh, let me help you with that because I was just curious about it. So
you were a creative kid, not just like a writer, but also like experimenting with things.
Yeah, like, growing up, like my world was like skateboarding. I used to do graffitis when I was younger. I got into music. I used to be a DJ. And then I went to college in Guatemala. Like I studied advertisement. My mom wanted me to go and study like architecture because they're like, oh, that's so creative, or be a doctor, or be a lawyer. And I was like, I want to just do creative stuff. So like maybe advertising because that's what was big in Guatemala creatively. So I just went and studied that. Like when I was there, I got a chance to do a PSA for the city of Guatemala to like clean the streets. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I got to edit it. That was like my first time playing with one of those linear editing machines. That it was like it's frustrating, but when you get the final product, it's very rewarding.
So linear machine, as in like an old school,
like you have
old school like, flatbed. Like that physical, but like you had to edit it in order, not on a computer offline.
Yeah, in order,
where you can like, okay, I'll work on the end a little bit, I'll work on the middle. You had to do it.
You have to do it.
That's actually really good training, I think, to do it the old-fashioned way.
I think so. And the way I started with like Super VHS. So like I was editing cassette to cassette. Like so, you have to think about like what do you really want to put there. You have to play with the time because you have to do it precisely. Because you're really putting this in together. And I remember I got my first experience using editing software, which it was also like, this is way back in the day. So I think it was like Premiere 6.5, I think. Like that was the version. It was like very old version of Premiere. And I enjoyed it. I thought like, oh, this is really cool to like start doing a lot of video. My brother, he moved to the U.S., he went to Full Sail to study music production. And he told me like, hey, man, they have a really cool film program here. And I mean, I think so because they look at the sets and they have like this backlot and like, you should come check it out. So I was like, I'll go see it. Like I'm about to graduate from college in Guatemala. And I went to Florida to take a look at it. And I have to tell you, like the way they do this like school tour in Florida. It's almost like you go to Universal. They make it feel like you're in the world of film. So I did a tour and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like I can be like a filmmaker here. So I talked with my mom. She said like, okay, let's wrap up the school in Guatemala and let's move to the U.S. So I came to the U.S. with no money. And I was like, let's just try to like do another career. Like let's switch now to film. And like I decided to focus on that. Full Sail is a very compressed, it's a very short-term school. So they grab the 4 years of college and they turn it into 2. So every month I will change classes. It will be something new. But it was around the clock. So I will have no
and it's called
vacation.
Full Sail?
Yeah, like the boat.
Yeah, like the sailing ship.
Like sailing ship.
And so it's really practical and just compressed. Like
it is very compressed.
Like day one, you're already using equipment?
Yeah, so your days is split into, you get like 4 hours of school that is like dedicated to go to classrooms and learn about things. And then the next 4 hours is going to be practical stuff. Now you're going to go on set and learn about lights and what can kill you and how heavy stuff is. So you like start getting this real world experience from the get-go, which I really appreciate, especially because I already did my college in Guatemala. I already did like the 4 years there. So like having something more compressed was better for me. The school is very interesting because it's called Full Sail and you imagine a boat, but the logo is an airplane. And they teach arts. I don't know. It's very interesting. But that's where, like, from the beginning, I started, like, learning how to be a grip, how to be a PA, how to be an editor, how to be a director, how to be a sound guy, how to be a DP. Like, I got the chance to play with every single department. I had, like, a makeup class. So, like, I was doing, like, crazy makeup, like, learning how that works. And I think, like, that overall learning structure helped me understand, like, what departments do and, like, how to communicate with them a little bit better. And then I apply it later as I go with my career, like be able to like talk to the makeup artist and say like, hey, I really need it to be a little bit more like finesse, like you know, like see what the limits are of what they can do, how long it will take them to do it, because I'm not gonna demand for like, you know, a big prosthetic nose and can you do it in 5 minutes? It's you know, it's ridiculous. So it helped me to like understand like where they're coming from and like how to talk to them in like a more one-to-one way.
That's always such a good part of a film school education is because it also just you learn what other people are doing so that not just to communicate with them, but if you're not the kind of person that doesn't build your respect for the skills of others, right? Yeah. Like respecting other people is huge for a director or a producer or anyone.
Absolutely, yeah. And then, you know, like a lot of like the stuff that I've done since then, like has been trying to be on set and trying to be like the guy that is like, well, I'm in charge of doing this, but I'm also not going to leave you hanging. Like, I'm just going to sit in a corner while everybody's just like wrangling cables. They're like, oh, let me help you guys out so we can like wrap up this production quick. You know, like, and I don't know, like I'm trying to, because I've been there. Like I've done the PA work. I've been the one like doing copies. Like they said, like I've been in productions. I remember being a commercial. We were on location and I needed to do copies of, I think, storyboards. I forgot what it was. And then I was the PA, so they gave me all the stuff and like get in the car trying to find a Kinko's and like like go do the copies and come back and deliver and trying to like do it fast enough so like the production can keep moving. So I've been in those shoes where like I'm the one getting the coffee in the morning, like very early in the morning, like bring it on set. Obviously, as a learning experience, like the first times, like I showed up kind of late because I didn't know the traffic in LA was that crazy, especially coming from Florida. It's a lot like even when I messed up being a PA or being a grip, the people that I was with, like the directors that I had, the producers that I had, they were very understanding and very caring. So like I never received like, you know, I never got anybody shouting at me and be like, oh, you're an asshole. Like, why are you so late? Like, you're going to get fired. I never get that. I got more like, it's okay, man. Don't worry about it. Like, it's...
I'm sure they could tell that you were conscientious about it. You just made a mistake. But like, there's a difference between you being late and like, I'm sorry I didn't understand traffic and stuff because I'm new here versus a kid who shows up late because you could tell they just didn't care. Yeah. But so 2-year program at Full Sail. And it sounds like that was a fast 2 years, right? Because if you're that busy every day, and I'm sure your evenings are about writing and shooting stuff on your own too. Like, was it an intense 2 years that like went by like it felt like 3 weeks?
Almost, but I will say like I didn't have time at night to do my own things because there were sometimes we have some classes that they were like you start at 9 in the morning, you go to 12 with one class, and then you go to the next class at 2 p.m. It goes from 2 to 6, and then you have your technical stuff like when you actually go on set from 9 to 12 p.m. and then you have like the 12 a.m. and then you have the 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. another technical class, and then you have like just a couple hours to sleep and repeat. And I had a couple months like that where you actually go around, which obviously it seems like a lot, but I really appreciate because we have on set sometimes we have like a 12, 14 hour in short turnarounds, and then you start getting used to it. You're like, okay, yeah, like that's normal. Like I know that like for the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be waking up early, going to bed late.
Yeah, that's a very practical education. Very because because plus when it's a 12, 14 hour day on a film set or whatever on a set. And also when there's the drive time home, the drive time like the turnaround, that word turnaround.
Yes.
I'm just reinforcing that the word turnaround is a really heavy word, right? because we're talking sleep and eat. Like, although they should be feeding you on set, but still.
Yeah, they feed you. But like in the morning is basically bagels and whatever you can grab and coffee. You get lunch. I never got dinner, so like when you wrap up and you go home and you're trying to eat something real quick and like go to sleep and relax as much as you can. So, and there's been times where like I don't know if it happened to you, but like you're so exhausted that you can't sleep.
Yeah.
So that like your body's almost like it doesn't want to sleep. So like you're like, okay, I guess I'm not sleeping tonight, and then you have to like get up in the morning and like just keep pushing through. So. It kind of helped me, and I noticed like there was a lot of students in my class that they were like complaining about it, and they just wanted to have like a regular college experience, I guess. That like they were not prepared for like what being on set could be, like how be a filmmaker is. They were like actually just wanted to be students, and after graduation, you can see like how my class split. How the people that just wanted to go to school and get a degree, where they end up, and the people that were driven and they were like, I want to learn all this stuff about filmmaking because I want to become a filmmaker. I want to be a director. I want to be a producer. I want to be a DP. Like those people, like you can see where they are now, and they were like the driven ones. So it's almost like a filter to see who is a filmmaker and who's not.
Sure. So when you finished, did you shoot straight to LA?
No.
Okay, good.
So when I graduated, my first...
Oh, wait. I'm going to interrupt myself because I just that's a when you graduated thing. But it also it sounds like you were making a lot of work. It sounds like you had your own projects. Like in those 2 years, like did you make a bunch of films?
Yeah, I did some like... Obviously, you end up having a little bit of downtime here and there. Like it's not a lot, but you end up having... And then I had this group of friends that we decided to do quickies. And it was like, we'll sit the four of us in the table and we're like, who has an idea? Let's do this idea. We just grab one camera and just go shoot it in like a day. We edit it in another day, and we'll have like a little micro short film that is probably like between 1 to 2 minutes. Very short, like just for us to play with a scene, like an action scene, or we're going to do like a comedy, and sometimes it's a mix of both. We recreated a scene from The Bourne Identity, and we call it I forgot. I think it was The Lost Identity, and it was literally the scene from the Bourne Identity where like he's running and somebody's chasing him, and like at the end he got run by this car, and like the guy was like, "Hey, you lost your wallet," and it was just funny because he was a lost identity. He lost his wallet. We did another one that it was like a fight in a playground. Like we just like I started doing a lot of silly things to practice. The way the school is. The classroom is only like 50 people. That's it. And we have 2 big projects. One is a 60 millimeter one, and one is a 35. Because the whole class moves together, you apply for the job that you would like to take. So for 16, the whole class does just 2 films, 2 16 films. And for 35, the class does 2 35 films. So if you want to direct, you apply to direct those films. If you want to be a producer, you apply to be a producer in those films. But applying means you have to create a fake portfolio. You have to like create some, like in my case, because I wanted to be a director, I had to storyboard a scene of the project. I had to write my notes and a statement of why I want to be the director. I want to go shoot something to apply for that role. I need to take stills and tell a story in 10 pictures, and then go and have an interview with our professors to say like, hey, I want this role because blah, blah, blah. And you kind of have to be attached to one of the projects. So you have to like already talk to the person who wrote it. You have to talk to the producer. You have to talk, and you show up in that interview saying like, this is my crew that I want to shoot this thing. So I got lucky that I was able to direct both the 16 and the 35 projects.
I might quarrel. It wasn't luck. You clearly made a good presentation and you showed a lot of creativity and confidence.
I think like part of it is like I partner with the right people, I think. I learn a lot, and one of the things that we make a big point, especially in film school, is like we're going to do challenging stuff. Something that we, like, I don't want to just do a simple thing just for the sake of like have this thing already done. I wanted to do something that even if the film doesn't work, I learned how to do something. So the first 16 millimeter piece was a World War I little story about like this soldier in a foxhole. So we're in Florida. Not a lot of places to build a foxhole. So we had this amazing production designer who built a foxhole in a soundstage that is movable. We can remove one of the walls of the foxhole so we can be inside of the foxhole with the camera. And then we can close the foxhole so we can shoot the exteriors like from outside of the, like you can see the woods. It had like the whole set.
I mean, it's a super professional set.
Yeah. To the point that like after we were wrapped up our movie, they kept that set there for like I think 6 months to show other students like what they could be building. And it was like it was around the time that I think the Pacific was coming out, and it was like such a big World War II show, and like we used that a lot as influence for what we wanted to do. But I didn't get I read the script and I was like, I really love this. I want to shoot it. And in my head I was imagining like the way it was shot and the planes and like the battle and like trying to do this big epic World War II film. But I didn't pay too much attention to the story. So once we finished it, like I realized like this story sucks. This is not great. And then that to me was like a big lesson. It was like, well, an issue, like, it's not too much first, like how I'm going to shoot is like, is it worth shooting? Like, is the story good enough? Are people going to be compelled from beginning to end? Is this something that like I really want to tell? And then the second, our thesis came out, the 35 millimeter, and I partnered with another team. And we did this boxing story. And again, like we're trying to do everything like as how we're going to challenge ourselves with this. So we did a lot of like, we did a lot of slow-mo boxing. We had a person coordinating the fight so we can learn how to do that stuff. Obviously,
these are ambitious projects.
Yeah, we did the fights, like all the slow motion, we're doing it with a 35 millimeter camera. So we did a day of pre-light where we did the rehearsal to see what speed are we shooting with the film camera and how bright the lights need to be. So on set, we set up all the lights as we were shooting slow-mo the entire time. So we're talking tungsten. So the set was incredibly warm. Like if you're in the ring, you're sweating. So we set up that in the regular camera that was going to shoot 24 frames. It had a lot of ND filters in front to block some of the light so it looks normal. And then the lights were set up for the high speed. We also did a lot of transitions because it's this guy in the ring remembering things that are happening. So we trying to do a lot of transitions where like he gets knocked out, and when he lands on the thing, we're like in a different scene. And so we're trying to challenge ourselves with the editing, with the way we're shooting, and the story that we're trying to tell. Like this is the part where like we had this makeup artist come in, like do the broken nose, but it's so hot, it's so sweaty that the nose is almost falling off. So we had to like repair that a lot of times. It was a very, very challenging, and we're shooting film, so it was for me like a way to learn how to rehearse correctly before we start rolling. So be very economical, because now with film you can have like 34 takes and who cares? All you're doing like using space in a hard drive. But over there it was like, well, I'm just gonna get like 5 good takes. So let's get those 5 good takes, and like let me talk to the actors correctly so they know what exactly I want before we start rolling. So I think I took that, like that was really my film school, like being able to like have a good experience on set with actors, like seeing the final products. These films are not good. and I think film school films should not be good. It should be challenging for you so you can learn out of it.
Right. If a film school student makes something that's just superb, they didn't push themselves in a way.
Exactly.
They stayed inside their comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you took on, besides a war movie, I think we all know boxing is an incredibly cinematic, but as soon as you're doing slow-mo and high crank, like you've set the bar really high.
Yeah, and just for ourselves, just for our crew, like we wanted to do something that like, you look at the films, they're like, there's some cheesiness in it, like the dialogue is not great, like the color we did it ourselves, so it's not fantastic, like the soundtrack is not, we just all this stock audio that we can find. But we came out with a lot of knowledge out of it. I think like we came out with like a way to run a set, understanding like not too much about, and especially now that you can like slow-mo something is like with a camera like very easily, and you still get the same lighting without having to compromise. You can use LEDs now instead of tungsten. You get all those advantages, but I think then it was mostly like understanding like how to push your own limit and how to troubleshoot something creatively. Like, we cannot do this, or let's do that. I can, like, I have this amazing shot in my head. I can get it. Let me find another way that I can tell the same story creatively. So I think like if film schools can focus on challenge the student to do something outside of their comfort zones, I think like that, to me, like that's valuable. Like but it also depends on like who the student is. A lot of these kids, like I graduated with, they were more than happy just being the PA on set.
And it sounds like you did have that. When I was in college, there was a handful of students in some of my classes who were older, right? They had either done the Army or done something else, and like when a lot of people in a classroom are 18, 19, and then there's someone who's 23, 24. And like or in your case, you'd already completed university in Guatemala. So like you probably beat everybody out on maturity too, it sounds like.
Actually.
Or were there other older people there?
There were older people in our class. We had this guy, and I don't know what happened in his life, but he was a little bit older. He came with the idea that he wanted to be the teacher's pet. He wanted to be the top of the class as a student and not as a filmmaker. I think he had ideas about filmmaking. I hope he learned a lot from school. But we had, especially in the boxing scene, he was my AD. And he was the AD that like me and my co-director, because both of these films I co-directed with somebody, we wanted to like come with something like very crazy, very innovative. Like we were like, okay, let's try to like, we can fake this by doing this thing. And he will be the guy that will throw us under the bus with the instructors to be like, these guys want to do this thing. And we're like, dude, we were trying to like come up with something creative, because he didn't have faith in our in what we wanted to accomplish.
In your vision, yeah.
He wanted just to have a film so he can have saying like, I graduated and have this film as an AD. I don't know what his goal was, but he wanted to be nice with the instructors, with our teachers. So it was a different experience for him. Like I think in film school, he had his own projects. I helped him with one of them. But he's also, and this is something that I learned from him, he's also the type of person that he will go shoot something, and the way he wrote it is the way he will shoot it, that it will be the way that he will cut it. So the whole vision is pretty straightforward. If you shoot like 20 pages, you want to see every single piece of dialogue from those 20 pages. And I hate editing my own projects because I want to have somebody critical outside my head to come and destruct it and be like, this doesn't work, I don't need this. And it actually happened with Fervor. Like Fervor is like one of those films that is a big collaboration between me and the editor. A lot of the way the film is constructed came from the editing room. All these like pensive, slow moments, cuts to environment came in the editing room. It was not, I didn't design those before we sit down with the editor and say like, well, let's start cutting this thing. I knew that I wanted to have the film have like this slow pace, to be like very calm at the beginning. I wanted to like hold on certain shots, but all this atmospheric shot that came like when we're sitting there editing the film.
But that's all stuff you shot though. So
not all.
Oh, some of it was pickups.
So we did
some
a whole
pickups.
Yeah,
but I still want to compliment you because I mean, no shade against the other fellow who shot exactly what he would. But yeah, everybody says this, that there's the film you write, the film you shoot, and the film you edit. And like if you don't experiment with the story, with storytelling in the editing room, you're doing everyone a disservice.
Exactly.
Like you can that's where you truly discover how you can tell this story. And I always hear all the time about people like, oh, I completely changed the meaning of the film changed with an edit. It's fascinating.
And that's the thing, like to me, filmmaking is always going to be a collaborative medium. And being able to like, when I first graduated, I was a little bit of a selfish director. It was my story. I wanted to do it this way. I'm shooting something like, this is my vision and this is what I want. But little by little, like, you start like breaking that mentality and then realizing that like what you want is like to tell a compelling story. So to me, like on set, I collaborate a lot with the DP. Like he has an idea for a shot that is not what I had in mind. Let's go and do that. Maybe this is something interesting. And like, oh, this is something I didn't thought about this thing. Even the last project that I did, one of the producers came to me like, oh, you know what? I think it would be cool if you do this way. And I was like, that would be cool. Let's do that. And I just switched one of the shots. Like I completely changed direction because somebody gave me like a great idea. And I think like the editor is the one that is going to look at all the footage the same way that you look at all the footage. And they're going to be like, oh, I can actually cut this in this other way. And it's going to be interesting. I can actually get rid of this whole scene because I don't need it. Like all this could be like in the background. Like we can just like have a line from this or move things around, and like now, like this happens before this thing. And like I'm what I like is like now I'm more open to somebody present something to me and say like that's actually like better than what I had in mind. And I think like when you become the writer, the director, the editor, you close a lot of those doors. It works for some people. There's the Soderberghs in the world, like they're genius and they can do whatever they want. But to me, like filmmaking is very collaborative.
It's very collaborative. Look, I want to get back to like what you did right after graduation because it sounded like you hung out in Florida or you stayed in Florida there was something before you came to LA. But I'm just going to add that John Cleese, one of the greatest writers who ever lived, member of Monty Python, just brilliant comedy writer. I'll always remember that he did an interview when A Fish Called Wanda came out, and he said like there was one scene they couldn't think of the line, and I think it was a grip. One of the grips threw out a line, and he said, "That's funny. We'll use that." And like he was like, anyone, the best idea wins. It's not about I have to come up with it.
Yeah,
like a true artist appreciates
that. I agree.
Contributions from anyone. Doesn't matter. It's about the quality of the idea, not who comes up with it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I try to do with my sets. I try to like keep them open. I just did a project in Toronto, and the set was like that. Like, you have an idea, tell me, and I'll do what I think is right with it. If it doesn't work for the vision that I have, it just doesn't work. But I'm not gonna shut you down. Like, tell me what you think. As long as we're on schedule, like you can like have a full conversation with me about like this idea that you're like, oh, this could be cool if we shoot it this way. Even if I think like it works, then like let's add it. Like, why not?
Yeah. All right. So you finished school And what's your first step? What do you start off with?
We're in the East Coast, so like my mentality was like a lot of my friends that I met in the school, they went to New York. So I was like, oh, maybe I go to New York. I had a friend there who was the DP for my 35 millimeter project. He was already there. Actually, both the DPs, the one from 35 and the one from 16, they moved to New York. So they were like, well, if I go to New York, I have these guys there and I can do a little projects there while we figure out like what's the next step. So I went to New York. It was at the beginning of February. So it was very cold, very slushy, ugly streets. It was not the pretty snow. Everything was so expensive, especially coming from Florida, especially coming from Guatemala, that it was just overwhelmingly. And I tried to apply to a couple internships there, because the way the school works is that after you graduate, they kind of enroll you back into school just so you can do internships. Like the credits don't matter, but they enroll you so you can have that experience of like trying to work for a company. I tried to set up interviews for internships there. Nothing pan out. I look at the apartments. The apartment looked like so sketchy, especially for my budget. Like I look at one that it was like a fantastic apartment, and back then it was like $3,000. They were like, what? This is too much. So my next move was like, well, let's go to LA. Let's go to like where everybody goes. So I had another friend. He's another director. He moved to LA, and when he was here, he's the one that was like, dude, you should just come to LA. And then I just moved to LA. And here I am. I applied to a couple internships. I got accepted to some. I did a lot of internships in LA. A lot of unpaid internships in LA. Because it was the era, there was no paid internships. A lot of unpaid internships. The one that I value the most is the one that like started my career. I was an intern at Participant Media. When I talked to my boss when he hired me, this is very odd. Most of the interviews that I went to, I was trying to like dress up a little bit nicer, put like a regular button-up shirt, shut up, like trying to be semi-professional. But this one, I was already tired. It came out of nowhere, so I just went and I was wearing this like Ninja Turtles hoodie. And I showed up to this interview with my boss. And later on, he told me like, dude, I hired you because two things. One, you showed up with a fucking Ninja Turtles hoodie. And I thought, like, I saw all these other kids being like very snobbish. And then you showed up like, oh, this looks like a creative guy. And then because I talk about typography for a while. Because I'm also like, I love typography. So we talked about that for a little bit. They were like, oh man, I love this fonts, and like I hate this. Like we're just like I just made like I don't remember why, but I made this whole conversation about typography in my interview, and they were like, that's why I hired you. And I was like, wow, that's wild. And he ended up being like a very like to me, I even think like he was a mentor in my time there. Like after I left Participant, I actually went to work with him in India. He was shooting a documentary. I was there as an editor. We collaborated, and he actually edited my first short film out like in the real world. Like when I actually said like, okay, let's get serious with this. I got lucky that he wanted to like edit it, and like it's fantastic.
Sounds like a really good person who
yes, like
there
amazing.
Are good people. I love hearing about good people.
The people that I love the most, I met them at Participant Media. And that's the people that like a lot of them I still call them my friends. Some are collaborators, some are mentors. Like there's the people that like I kind of like grew as an artist and a professional. That like I learned filmmaking based on these people. So like I really appreciate like the fact that I got a chance to be an intern there.
Yeah, absolutely, and it led to great things.
Yeah. Like my career started there, so I miss that place.
And I mean, going to India, that sounds.
Yeah, you can actually watch his film. It's called The Price of Free. He won...
The Price of Free. That rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, it was about child slavery in India. It's free on YouTube. You can watch it. Won grand jury at Sundance. And then now he's doing all these like documentaries for Netflix. So like he has a bright career. Like very smart guy. I learned a lot of storytelling from him. I remember like we were in India one time, and we were talking about like documentary. Obviously, like we're in the middle of shooting, and like he like started telling me about like what's the stake, what's the emotional attachment to this person, like who can I follow that like can bring something in the film, and like the way he was thinking about the story as he was shooting and how to follow these people. Like think, and then afterwards seeing the film, I was like, oh fucking, I get it. And I remember like there was one day that he produced another, I think it was like a short documentary. And we were watching it in the office in India, just the two of us. And he turned around and said, like, what do you think? Like, do you have any notes? And I was like, I thought it was cool. I had no idea what I was like what exactly do you want, like kind of notes you want. And then later, after we had that conversation, I started like understanding like what storytelling is. I was like, oh, I see what you were asking for. Like, does it connect with me? Like, do I follow the character correctly? Like, all these like beats. Like, I got all this stuff from him. So, like, to me, like, even like probably indirectly, he was a great mentor. Like, I don't know if he was intentionally trying to be like, hey, let me teach you this stuff. I think like I learned it just by being close to him.
Isn't that the best form? I mean, obviously, a mentor who. If you seek a mentor who teaches directly, that's great. But really, being a role model is a great form of being a mentor, right? Like
I agree, yeah.
just saying, I want you with me. You're helping me, but I'll show you everything I do. And honestly, it's great, right? Because honestly, I might confess to like this is what I do with film festival staff. Like they can learn from me and go on and do something else. Or they can just do what you ask and not show enough interest and move on and not get anything out of it. Yeah. And really, it's up to people if they absorb or not.
And I think also like that's how the film school was. Like the film school was like, I remember the only job that I could get when I was in film school, it was doing the tours that they had like once a month, and I would get paid like $100 to help do the tour. Like that was like the only job that I could have in the U.S. because I'm a foreign student. And I remember like parents, they will come with the kids to school and they will ask me because I was a student. They're like, oh, so what do you think about the school? Like, do you recommend it? And sometimes I was just honest with them. Like, well, it really depends on your son or your daughter. Like, if they really want to get something out of film, they're going to love this place. But if all they want is to have a degree, you're just giving money away here because you can buy your title. You can say like, oh yeah, I graduated from this place. I have a bachelor's in film. You just pretty much just pay for it because you can like
because they could have spent 2 years being a PA or less and not getting involved, and then they graduate and you pretty much pay to be a PA. So, but like, you know what the truth is? I think isn't that the truth that all universities, right? Like there's you can try to get something out of it, or some of us are lazy. Yeah. If all you want is the degree to say that you have the degree, well, yeah, you can just pay for it and like try to do the bare minimum. But if you really want to become what you're going to study, then you're really going to get a lot out of it. And I think like that also applies to like those internship, the works that I've done. Like I personally am trying to like get something out of every project that I do. I try to do something a little bit different, something that I haven't done before, so I can later say like, oh, I did this. I know how to do this now. I did a short film a couple of years ago back in Guatemala. Like that was me going back to my roots, trying to tell a story from my country. But my main character was a kid. So the first time that I worked with kids, the first time that I directed in Spanish, the first time that I worked with a crew in Guatemala, which like the film industry was non-existent when I left, and there's an industry, and it was like very challenging. Like it's a horror film; everything happens at night. I didn't know how to like work with kids, which I was learning as I was going. How to direct in Spanish is like it's a weird thing where I had to like switch my brain, and then learning how to do this short at night, like odd hours, with a kid that gets tired later as we go through our shoot day. Like she's falling asleep, so you can physically see how tired she is. So like I came out of that film like
with a lot of knowledge. And like how, and then I think like this last project that I did in Toronto, because I'm also like going somewhere to do this thing with a crew that I don't know, in a place that like I didn't get the chance to like see beforehand. The fact that I did this other short in Guatemala helped me show up in Toronto and be like, okay, I'm ready. Like I know how to do a lot of these things now.
Very cool. So after India, it sounds like after that participant experience, you just stayed in town working and doing your own things on the side, and occasionally making a film. Like you went down to Guatemala and made a film. Yeah. And any other films? Did you shoot some shorts here in LA too, or before Fervor? Or?
Yeah, I did. I actually, and this is like pretty much like a story of Fervor. So the friend that I told you that moved to LA that I came here to meet, like a big, like it's one of like, it's kind of like my brother at this point. Like I hang out with this guy so much. He's also a director. So one of the things that we wanted to do, we wanted to start going back to that era in school where we're like, do our quickies. Let's go and shoot something when we have a downtime. Let's not spend a lot of money. So we decided to like do quick short films. And the first experiment was a really small short film. We decided like, we don't have a lot of money, but we need to rent some equipment. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one day and we're going to shoot everything in one day. You take the first half of the day and I take the second half of the day. We're going to share the same makeup artist. We're going to share the same crew. We're going to share the same equipment. Let's come up with stories. So he came up with a story that happens during the day, and I came up with a story that happens at night. And we just shot both of them back to back. On his short film, I was running sound. And on my short film, he was running sound. And then we wanted to shoot everything for under $1,000. But, you know, we got a little ambitious and the budget grew. And we ended up shooting it for like, I think like 5,000. So it wasn't that bad. So then we were like, okay, that was great experiment. I think we need to like make sure that if we're gonna increase the budget, we need to shoot something that we really want. So that's where Fervor came to.
Right. In other words, those were quickies, as you were calling them.
Yeah.
So you said to yourself, wait, I just invested X dollars, and I wasn't like making a passion. Like I wasn't making a film that I really, really need to make.
Yeah.
Like you were doing it really for fun and to keep your muscles working, right? It was like, it's like going to the gym in a way, right?
Exactly. We wanted to we wanted to like exercise our creative muscles. So the second project was like, okay, we did this, we split one day. Why don't we split a weekend? So you shoot on one day and I shoot on the second day. And then he was the first one that came up with a story because we didn't know where to shoot. We don't know exactly what we wanted. He came up with like a couple ideas that he had in mind. And he ended up coming out with this like very cool, I really love his film. His really cool desert story where like there's a couple in a car and like it's very sci-fi, it's pretty cool. But he's just like, it's in the desert. And I was like, okay, let me see what I can come up with. And that's where I came up with Fervor. Like everything happens in the desert. So we decided like, okay, we're going to shoot my film on Saturday. We shoot your film on Sunday. We brought a producer that produced both films. We hired an entire crew that is just a crew for the weekend. We rent the gear for the weekend.
It's the thing is, I'm sure everyone listening, because most of the people listen to this are filmmakers too and stuff. But yeah, there's weekend rates.
Exactly.
So you can't rent for just Saturday. You have to rent for the weekend anyway. And if you don't have a 2-day shoot in mind, what you guys did was brilliant.
Yeah,
super great use of resources.
Yeah, that was kind of like the mentality behind it. Like, well, we have a weekend rate, so let's just split it. Let's split the cost. It was very challenging. We learned a lot. And if you rewatch Fervor, you're going to see a lot of things that I'm going to talk about.
I'm curious if I've seen his film, but we don't have to go there.
Not, but you should. And I'll plug his film because I fucking love his film. I don't know if he's out yet, though. He might still be in festivals.
Because it's funny, like, we get hundreds, 700-800 submissions. So I can't remember all of them. But I mean, I've seen a lot of films with a couple in a car in the desert. I'll tell you that. It's a standard way to start an indie film. Yeah.
So because we were shooting in the desert, we find a place to shoot both films, but we still needed to have a base camp. We needed to have a restroom. So we end up renting an RV, parking it, and that was going to be a base camp. The RV is going to stay there overnight. That's going to be restroom, people where everyone has to meet in the morning. And my film, we started with my film. My film was like the first, the way we set it up is like, well, I need to rent a car that fits with the film. So I need to rent that on Friday. So let's shoot mine on Saturday so I can return it. And then we were going to use my car for the second film. So I just bring my car. So like the way we set it up, I think it worked that like my film will go first, his second. He also he needed to rent a tow truck because he was going to be pulling the other car. Because in the sci-fi film, like the guy that is driving disappears, so the car drives itself. So we had to come up with creative ways to do that. But we had a lot of, this is the part where I learned a lot about troubleshooting. At the beginning of the day, we show up on set. We're setting up for the shoot, like they're getting ready to build the rigs so like we can block the sun and all that stuff, like whatever the DP needs to do to like have camera ready. In the meantime, we had the guy that was flying the drone because we're going to have this aerial shot of the car driving through the desert. And the producer, they were going to just go shoot the truck. And they were like, okay, you guys go shoot that because it's just a camera following the truck. So in my head, it's like, that's as much as direction as I will give anybody. Like even if it's the actual DP doing it or the actors doing it, they're like, just drive. So you guys go do that while we set up all this. I'm going to rehearse with the actors the rest of the script while you guys do that. They went to the desert, and then I don't know how the truck went into this little pocket of sand, and one of the wheels got stuck. But it's a Bronco, so it has 4-wheel drive. The day that I picked it up, the guy, when I picked it up, said, like, do not activate the 4-wheel drive because when the chain connects, because it's a 76 Bronco.
It's a classic,
class, yeah. Once you connect the chains, you're not going to be able to disengage it. So you're only going to be able to drive 20 miles an hour from then. And we were like in Palmdale. So in my head, I was like, if I need to return this car and drive all the way from Palmdale to Hollywood, well, actually Culver City, it's going to take me forever at 20 miles an hour. So we were like, well, we need to find a way to like get this thing. And we tried. And he also said, please don't drive it off-road because you don't want to put sand in the car. And then we like got stuck in sand. So it was like worst case scenario happened. So I love my producer. He was very resourceful. He was like, let me try to figure out if I can get a tow truck here. So we sit there for like 3 hours at the beginning of the day waiting for the car to be, we can get it out of that ditch.
And did they tell you they put it in 4-wheel drive? So now you're already saying to yourself, now it can only go 20 miles an hour?
No, I told them, like, do not. They wanted to. They wanted to put it in 4-wheel drive.
Because if they'd done that, they might have gotten out, but then...
Yeah, and actually, I don't even think they would have been able to like get it out because the wheel really got sunk into the sand.
Oh, man.
So in my head, we're like, imagine if if you put it in 4-wheel drive, trying to get it out. You can't get it out. And now I have to drive 20 miles an hour back home. It would have been... And in my head, it's like, once we wrapped up, it's going to be late. I have to drive that truck all the way to Culver City to return it. And then come back to the desert at 6 in the morning so we can shoot the next short. So it was almost like, I don't want to do that. So while they're trying to like get the truck out of the sand, me and the DP, which again, the DP was like very resourceful. And that's the part that I love, the people that I work with. He started figuring out other ways that he can shoot this thing. Like, oh, let me see if I put the camera here, maybe we can like shoot against this thing so we don't have to see the truck. Maybe the truck is down there where it's right now, and we shoot it from this angle so you can still see it in the background. And the ideas were cool, but it would have shifted too much the story. And we haven't yet shot the part where the car drives around and parks, like the beginning of the film. We haven't shot that yet. So in my head, like, well, if the car is down there, how does that make sense to like drag the... Like in my head, I was trying to think like, how can I change the story? Anyway, 3 hours later, we be able to like pull the car out, we start shooting. We start like going through the script, like we're getting all our shots. And then we break for lunch. After we break for lunch, it got really cloudy. So the lighting shifted completely.
Oh,
now
man.
It's overcast. So we come back from lunch and we start shooting again. So now we're shooting overcast. It's like, well, and then the people are like, well, this it's not going to match. So do you want to reshoot everything that we already shot? And I was like, well, if anything, let's shoot that at the end of the day just to have it overcast. But I think like right now, let's just keep going the way we're doing it. I'm just going to speed up a little bit.
And see if you can finish your day early and then reshoot those things.
And then reshoot. Yeah. So we're trying to like go through all the lines. Like we're trying to like move faster now because we had less time. We lost 3 hours and now we had to reshoot everything again. So pretty much the first part of the day in my head was like, whoa, that was a wash. We lost that. I'm shooting this short in just half a day. We end up getting everything. And if you look back, and this is like the color is also prime color is amazing individual. She was really helpful in a way, the way she creatively solved that issue where she said like, well, I'm just going to grab the overcast part and bring it up a little bit and grab the sunny parts and bring it down and meet them in the middle. And that's going to be like our starting point. And then we're going to do the rest of the color pass. So if you look at the film, yes, there's part where like it's really sunny. There's part that is not. And the editor started putting it together and he found some of these like random shots that we had of the desert. And he was like, it's really sunny here. And when she turns, it's not. But when she started telling the story, we cut to something else, it doesn't really matter. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he showed me like a little cut that he did with one of the scenes where like she started telling the story of the brothers. And as she's telling the story of the brothers, we cut into this like the desertness, like the emptiness of the place. And I was like, I really like how that feels, especially because I wanted to be the film, like I wanted to be slow. I wanted to like be able to like digest everything that is happening. That I was like, dude, I love that. Let's just do that then. Let's sprinkle that across the film and make that be part of it. And he was like, well, that's all the footage that I have. So we were like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to book another day and just go back to the desert and just like go and shoot desert. And then we did it. We just went back for a day and it was just like, let's capture ants in a little hill. Let's get some cactus. Let's get the sun in the background. Let's get some clouds. Let's get like, we're just like trying to find, there's not a lot of things that you can shoot in the desert. So we're trying to figure out like, what can we shoot there? But it also helped my friend realized that he's going to go through the same challenge, that it's going to be overcast, that it's going to be sunny, without knowing that actually the next day was going to rain. So he actually got it worse because he got rain, overcast, and sun all at once. So sometimes in his short, you can see like there's watermarks in the window. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's overcast. But I think like something that we came out of these films with the knowledge, like, as long as you do your homework right and people are engaged with the story, nobody's noticed the sky is shifting. Nobody's paying attention to the background.
As long as it's not exactly, as long as it's not like from shot to shot, as long as you're going to something else. And also I'll add like, you and I could be standing in or we could be standing in the desert and a cloud can pass by. Like you know what I mean? Like exactly. It's not super artificial. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like a character having a beard in one shot and then being clean shaven in the next.
Exactly. Which also brings me to another lesson that I had from this about continuity and not having a scripty. Our main actress, very talented actress, she did a lot of her character playing with her hair. So she tosses it to one side behind the ear and then like the way, and then she turns around and her hair is not the same way. And we had a lot of that in the film where you see like the hair doesn't really match. But when I talk to people, they don't notice. They're looking at her eyes, at her actions, what she's doing, not really like, oh, the hair doesn't match here. Like, but based on that, like me knowing that happened because I saw it, and I've seen the film so many times. The last project that I did, we made a point and we told the actress, if you play with your hair, always leave it how it starts. If you're going to move it, let it fall back where it was. And because we don't have a script supervisor that can like keep us accountable. That like, oh yeah, that's how she had the hair. So just being a little bit more restrictive. Same as hitting marks,
right? Like that's something an actor learns over time. Is they need to if they pull their ear and then you shoot it again. If you don't pull your ear again. You're giving the editor a harder job of making you look good. That's one of the things, right? Is the more consistent the actor is, the easier it is for that editor to make their performance sing because they don't have to dance around these little continuity things.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I like it. It was like just Fervor was like a lesson too. Like I learned a lot out of that film. So I think like with every project, I tried to. Fervor was like a challenge. I did. It's the whole film is one scene. It goes well with like the style of filmmaking that I like. I'm from like the Jeff Nichols school of film, I guess. Like that's how I describe it, because to me short films are a slice of somebody's life. It's almost like, even if you have multiple scenes, it's one scene. It's one section of a larger story. And I don't like, because this is what I learned from film school. We were trying to compress a feature film into a short film. We're trying to like give origin story. We have to like happy ending. Like we try to like get all this into like one short film. And I realized like I don't need to tell the audience where the characters are coming from, like what happened before they were here. I just need to imply it. And the enter frame, like that's where you meet them. Like that's it. And then I don't need to give you a happy ending, a sad ending. I don't need to tell you like what's gonna, like the world, what's gonna be after we wrapped up. I just have to like imply it. Like now you know they're gonna go and do this. And that's literally what Fervor is. Like Fervor, we see her dragging this guy into the desert, and you're like, but what happened? And in her monologue, you're starting to like put the pieces together. And then when she leaves, you don't know what's gonna happen after she leaves. But we all have our ideas. Yeah, we know what's gonna happen to the guy without showing, and we have an idea what's gonna happen with her because she left. But I don't need to tell you like, oh yeah, and then she crossed the board. Now she's here. Now she went to get a job and so like I don't need to fill up those gaps. The story. So I think like that to me is like I'm gonna tell you like where the characters are meant to be and where it's supposed to go, but I'm not going to show you any of that.
Yeah, exactly. And you leave it. I think it's called trusting your audience, and that's a good thing to do. Sometimes I have to share an observation, which is, it's interesting to me that you made that boxing film years earlier, because in a way, your two characters in Fervor it's kind of a boxing match between them, because he's fighting her from whatever position he's in. I won't give away the position he's in, but he's manipulating. He's trying to win this.
Yeah, which also like amazing actor. I really like this guy Tim Rourke. He brought so much to the character without speaking a word. Well, I think he has one word in the entire film.
Really, only one?
Only one. I think it's one. Maybe it might be two.
My memory is giving him dialogue.
No, he does not.
Because that's how much his face was telling me. Oh my gosh!
I think he has one word of dialogue.
Get out! Oh my god!
So
that's just great acting. Then,
it is
because we know everything that's going on in his character's mind.
And the entire time he's just tied. It's a very uncomfortable place, and he just went for it. Also, big lesson. At the beginning of the film, when he gets dragged out and he lands on the ground, obviously we're trying to like be careful about it and like the way we did it. But in the very first rehearsal, he landed wrong and he hurts himself. And then he just pushed through it the entire film, because that was the first thing that we shot. He hurt himself even before we start rolling, and he was like, "Don't worry about it. Let's just keep going." And then he went through the entire day with a pain in his back. So, big trooper, champion, a warrior.
Trooper probably used it right because his character should be in pain.
It should be,
that good person.
So yeah, probably his one line of one word of dialogue was targeted at me.
Jeez, I haven't seen it since December. Boy, I should.
Normally, it has some rewatchability in there. Like you can start like if you rewatch it and try to like look at other things now, you're gonna see the sky shift.
Maybe
you'll see it.
Yeah, okay.
You see the sky shift. You will notice like the continuity with the hair. And like
but that honestly, like that one, I'll give you because people adjust their hair all the time. People who have hair like that, like it is, going from, it's not like it was a different haircut on a different day, like people do. I used to have hair and I used to push. I remember.
Yeah. So it was cool. But okay, so also going back to like giving you where the character is going, something that I do, especially with this amazing composer that made the music for the film, we always end up releasing the score because it's fantastic, the score that they do. And then actually they do more than what you see in the film. So we always ended up releasing it on Spotify. So we come up with this idea since the previous short film, La Leyenda del Sombrerón, the one that I shot in Guatemala, where we had this piece of narration because the one in Guatemala was a folk tale. It's almost like a poem. It's like a traditional tale. It's a fairy tale. So we have a little bit of narration at the end of the soundtrack. And on this one, we were like, well, how can we do that same thing? And we actually brought back the actress. And we had one track at the end of the entire soundtrack. And you can check it out on Spotify. At the end of the soundtrack where she is talking on the phone post the events of the film. So she kind of like gives a little bit more of context of what's
like
the future.
Postscript. Yeah. Very cool.
So it's a very like Easter eggy, like, like not
right,
a lot
you have
of
to
people,
go to Spotify to get that.
Yeah, you have to like go check out the soundtrack, which is at least still is a fantastic soundtrack to me. But you have that little nugget of extra storytelling there. So I think like that's pretty cool. Something like a device that I want to experiment more with. To like give like little hints outside, like build the world outside of just the film.
Very cool. And you've had, so it sounds like you had a really good experience in the editing room because you were working with, I mean, it was difficult. You had challenges, but my understanding is you're happy.
I am happy with the film, but I give a lot of credit to the editor because it's the one that had to like creatively work around a lot of these challenges that we had. There was like a part where, because we had to do so many retakes with the sun out and with the overcast sky, the part where like she reties him with duct tape. Mm-hmm. We went through so many takes of that we start running out of duct tape, and then we're in the middle of the desert, so there's no way that we can like bring more. So he had to be creative about how he cut that section, and I think he nailed it. They were like, this is actually way better than I was like imagining it in my head. So I think he was able to like pull a lot of these moments out of the footage that we had. So I give him a lot of credit for that. Like he was like he was a good partner putting this film together. He made like a lot of like the decisions that he made just enhanced the film. And like I've been working with him for that was I think like the second, like since I started working on like doing these quickies, like where I wanted to like do experimental shorts, I started working with him. He also came from a participant, and he's probably gonna be editing my next projects, like everything else, like it's coming up because I really trust his eye. Like we have a good conversation before he starts working. He just goes and like he sends me the first pass, and they're like, I'm already like happy with the first pass, like how it looks, almost feels like it's a finished product. And by the time we finish, it's like, dude, like this is fantastic. Yeah, it's a good way to collaborate with him.
Excellent. Yeah. And you're giving him great stuff to work with because let's be honest, like they can't, editor can't create something unless it's there. So
it's true.
So it's a great collaboration.
Yeah, he's a very great collaborator. He also shot the previous one. So he was my DP and the editor on that project. Oh, not on Fervor, but on the previous one.
Right. Yeah. So everyone's multi-talented. Now, it's so interesting because 10, 20 years ago, like you really had to choose a lane. And now, like, the jack of all trades is finally getting a little more respect, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, I feel like that versatility, especially on set, you feel it. You feel somebody like can be like working on something and be like, oh yeah, I can help you with this, and then suddenly like, oh, put a different hat and be like, oh, this is fantastic. Like, for an independent filmmaking, I think that's extremely helpful because you usually don't have either the money or the bandwidth to bring all the people that you would like to bring with you into a project. And if somebody can like I wear multiple hats when I'm like on set. I think it just helps the project a lot.
Hugely.
Yeah.
And I did just look over. Yeah, so the nice thing is you also have people to work to collaborate as producers. So you didn't actually. You probably could have given yourself a producer credit, but you didn't.
Yeah, I also that's the thing. Like, I'm not a producer. Like, I do producing just by necessity. Like, when I really need to like produce my own stuff, I just do it. But if I have a real producer and I'm just helping my producer, I'm not gonna give me a producer credit because I'm just helping you. You're the one that actually doing all the work.
Yeah.
So and you know, like, if you look at my filmography, a lot of the producers, you start seeing like repetitive, like you start seeing like people project to project doing like other things. I did one project that it was a very interesting experimental short film that I co-wrote and co-directed with this guy that also participant alumni. We did this project where like we wrote it and we directed it together, and then he became the editor for the film that I shot in Guatemala. So it was like this like nice cross, and he was the producer on my first short film. So he went from like multiple hats like through like my career. So like if you look at my filmography, there's a lot of that people. Like they go from being producer, now it's gonna be an editor. It's gonna be like they start like shifting roles because they're like that's how we function. Like, and in my credits, you're gonna see like also like sometimes I'm a DP for a project, sometimes I'm a sound person for a project, sometimes like because you just have to like wear multiple hats when you're doing something.
Right, and you step in, when there's a need, you can step in. Yeah,
and then also like because I like doing a lot of projects with friends. Like I like helping them because again it's a collaborative medium. So I like if I can lend a hand, I'll be there. Like if you want me just to PA for you, I'll just go PA because I know like if I need you, you're gonna lend me a hand too. So
excellent. And I know. Well, obviously, I know you've made films since your appearance at Sherman Oaks FIlm Festival in December with Fervor. But are you sort of balancing out between working on other people's stuff and creating your own? Like, is it? What is there? Is there? Are you winging it or are you planning it?
I think most of it is winging it. Like the current project came out of nowhere. It wasn't supposed to be my next project. I was in my head. I was done with short films. I was like, oh, that's a wrap. Like I'm just gonna focus on writing this feature film that I want to do. That is more like a retrospective of my life in Guatemala. So I wanted to like do something more personal. But then this project came and like landed on in front of me out of sheer coincidence, like the stars aligned, and like I start talking, and I love the script, so I was like, oh yeah, it's the thing is like I feel like when you plan things, they don't happen. When you don't plan it, that's where like the world will give you, like the more you plan, the less things work the way.
And you can be writing a feature and planning it, and then just be open to other things while you're doing it. Yeah, exactly. Because isn't that the saying? Whatever, like God laughs while we make plans or something.
Yeah,
there's some
like
saying.
That,
there's some saying like it's just like you can plan whatever you want, but if you're open minded to opportunities that come by, you can stay busy and keep learning.
Exactly, and I like especially if the project is challenging, is something that I haven't done. Like I that's something that really clicks with me. Like it's like that cookie that you want to eat, and then the right project shows at the door, like you're not gonna miss that opportunity.
Well, and also you enjoy this. You love this.
Yeah.
So why would you say no to opportunities when it's what you actually enjoy? Whereas if you were an egotistical jerk, you'd be like, I only want to do the things that I care. You know what I mean? Like just being open that's the way to be.
So that brings me to another story.
Okay.
Because sometimes it backfires. After the short that I did in Guatemala, Sombreron, I got tapped by this writer that he wanted to do a short film in Tijuana. And I read the script and I was like, oh, the script is not great. But if I have some freedom to tweak the script and actually build the characters a little bit more, I'm interested in like doing this short with you. And he was like, yes, okay, let's do it. And I started tweaking it. I started like giving more dimension to some of the characters. So even our hero is flawed. And like I wanted to like make it feel very human, that could happen to anybody. This guy wanted to just tell the story of his life. And I don't think he wanted to show darkness into himself. I don't know. I don't understand like what exactly had happened.
Sounds like he had a vanity project in mind.
I think
and
so.
And then you started wanting to make it a better story.
Yeah, it could be that. So 2 weeks before we were like gonna start production, we already have everything set up. I was gonna fly to Tijuana to shoot this thing. I was gonna fly a week before so we can like have some pre-pro over there, like, you know, meet with the DP, go to a location scout, talk to the cast and be able to like set up something. I talked to this guy and I don't know what in his head shifted. I don't know if he had influence from other people, and he wanted me to do a mood board for the film. And I was like, well, we're 2 weeks from shooting. Like, I think we passed the stage where I will do a mood board for this. Like, I already have a shot list with the DP. Like, we're not doing mood boards at this point. Like, we already know what we want. And he was like, oh, okay, but like he just started like giving me some excuses, and I was like, dude, I'm not gonna do any of this stuff. We're ready to shoot, and we left it at that. The next day, he sent me a message. He's like, you know what? I feel like we're like drifting apart as creatives. I'm just gonna get somebody else to direct this. And I was like, you know what? Actually, that's probably like a blessing in disguise. And I was like, good luck with your project. I don't know what happened to it. But I would
bet you a coffee at Starbucks that he directed it and probably not well.
I don't know. I never
Because I bet the
it.
mood board request was like trying to say, wait, maybe I should do. You know what I mean? We'll see. That's I'm only betting a coffee. I'm not betting the house. So.
This is the thing. Like, he wrote it. He wanted to act on it. He's not an actor, but he wanted to act on it. He wanted to be the main character of his life story in this film that he wrote. And in my head, I was like, whatever. So he got his acting coach to teach him how to act. And I think the acting coach was a lot of influence on him, because I casted somebody else as the main antagonist on the film. And unfortunately, this person couldn't do it, and he immediately cast his acting coach as that character without even asking me. And I was like, so where are you going with this, man? Like, how are you trying to like do this power move? I think like that already like started doing like this environment where like it's probably like if I would have gone and shoot this thing, I don't know if I would have ended up having like, you know, that experience that some filmmakers have that like, oh, this executive producer came and like wanted to hijack my film. I think it would have been something like that. And I'd rather not waste my time and go shoot this thing and focus. I was supposed to shoot that film 1 week before I shot Fervor. So I'd rather spend that week doing my pre-production for the film that I love, that I wrote, that a story that I want to tell, that to me is very unique, because I always wanted to shoot a revenge story. To me, that's more important than doing this guy's project that it almost felt like I was hired just to push buttons. So say like, hey, say yes to this and like go do your lines. Okay, let's move on to the next setup. Like I think it was a blessing in disguise that
that would have been that would, if it had gone through, it would. If it hadn't gone the way it did, you would have something that you would not want to show people.
Exactly.
Is that too mean? I don't know. But yeah, no, it's always good to get out of those things. And also a nice, clean, healthy, like you be you, I'll be me, where everyone gets along.
Just go do your thing. I got an email afterwards from one of the producers saying like, I'm sorry about like how things ended. And I'm like, no, it didn't end it poorly. Like this guy said like he wanted to go in a different direction, and I just said like, okay, like I didn't leave it as if there wasn't a fight. It was not nothing. So like, hey, good luck with your project. Yeah. That's it.
Well, talking about projects, before we wrap it up, do you want to talk about the project that was born, that began with a meeting at the Sherman Oaks Film Festival Opening Night Gala? Or
I can tease it. I can actually just talk about how this thing started.
Yeah, very cool.
Because I think it's a funny story, and we had different stories. Like if you talk to him, like the story will be completely different. Well, I mean, his perspective of the story. But to me, and we talked that we were on set, we were at lunch, and we were just cracking up because we were like telling our stories like from our perspective, and they were like, "Oh my God, this easily could not happen. This film could like not exist if one of the little things would have shifted to the left a little bit." So I was going to the gala. I invited my filmmaker friend, because he did the short film, and then like he was part of Fervor, so like I wanted him to come with me.
Yeah, the one whose film was shot the next day.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted him to come with me because, filmmakers, I wanted to talk creative stuff with somebody, and like if I don't talk to a lot of people in the room, at least I talk to my friend about maybe other ideas that we can come up with. So I wanted to just be creative. 2 days before the gala, he had to bail. He was like, "Oh, sorry, man, I can't do this because something happened. I don't know what it was." And then my wife was like, "I'll go with you." But my wife is in finance, so it's a completely different world. So in my head, I was like, I don't know. Like, it's not the same vibe. I don't know how I feel about this. It's okay. Like, maybe I don't need to go. And she was like, "No, let's go. Let's get a drink, whatever." And I was like, "Well, yeah, at least we get like 2 free drinks out of this." Like in my head, I was like, maybe I see something. Maybe I talk to somebody. So on the day of the gala, that's when I decided like, fine, let's just go. Because we didn't have anything to do at the house. So we're like, nah, just go to the gala. We showed up at the gala. Like, we're like, lovely place, amazing space that you got for the gala. And I really enjoy whatever was happening in the second floor with like all the VR stuff. I was able to I was talking to one of the guys telling me the story. I was able to watch one of them, like the animated one. Amazing. I really love that because it was almost like a micro film festival inside of a film festival.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool because it was like, it's like showing technology. Like I think VR is going to be like that application of that technology is pretty cool.
Yeah. Those people are about 5-10 years ahead of the curve, I think.
Yeah.
But so. It's definitely something's going to happen there.
Yeah.
And they're just having fun and experimenting.
Yeah. I thought like the stuff that I saw, it was pretty cool. But anyway, I went downstairs. I was like talking to some people, and then I was ready to go home because I was like, okay, I'm good. And this guy, Ren Olivieri, he came with his wife. His wife, also not a filmmaker, just connected with my wife, and they started like talking. And then when I saw them talking, I was like, oh, I guess I can talk to this guy about like creative stuff. So we just like start talking about like other projects that we've done, like background stuff, like he's Canadian. So like I was like, I don't know anything about Canada except for this one show that I watch called Shoresy that is about hockey.
I've seen every episode.
I love that show.
And I saw every episode of Letterkenny that it came from.
I watched Letterkenny because of Shoresy. Oh, wow. I watched all Letterkenny just because Shoresy.
Love Shoresy. But there you go, yeah.
And then this guy plays hockey. So it's like, oh, hockey this, hockey that. And like, yeah, a lot of that what happens in Shoresy becomes of this thing. So look, that's how we like start talking. We start like connecting a little bit. And he said that he wanted to see at least one block of short films before his short film, because obviously they come from Canada. They wanted to do a lot of touristy stuff too. So I told them like, well, my film is going to be on Friday. So if you want to like do Friday night, you can come, whatever. Not thinking that he was going to show up, But then he came to see my film. Like, oh, cool, man, I'm going to go see your film. His film was on a Sunday, so like it was a big commitment. I told my wife, like, dude, this guy came to my show. I feel bad if I don't go to see his. And she was like, yeah, but it's all the way in Glendale. And I was like, yeah, but let's do it. So we end up going. I actually love the films in that block. I like the one with the brothers. Like,
that was
lovely,
so good.
Lovely fucking film. Like, I really enjoyed that one. I love his film, The Trade. And afterwards, we like just keep talking. And then he was like, dude, I have this script. Do you want to read? Actually, he said, I have a couple scripts. Some of them are probably very easy to shoot, like something we can play with. And then I have this other one that might be a little bit too complex. So it might be a little too pricey. But I'm going to send it to you anyway so you can read them. And I read all of them. And the ones that are like, the ones that are like, oh, yeah, we can probably shoot this in a day. Or like, oh, this is kind of like a funny thing. Like, it's a really cool sketch. Those were not exciting to me because it was like, well, there's no challenge there. It was like, oh, I could shoot this like any day. And then I read the one that it was like very complex. And I was like, this I would like to shoot. This I think is very interesting. This is like something that I can see. I can see how I can play with some ideas here. So I told them, let's try to like make this work. Obviously, it could have been expensive. I brought a producer, one of the producers that did Sombreron in Guatemala. She came. She produced my first short film, and she produced Sombreron. So she produced one of the quickies that we did. So she produced 3 things for me. This is the 4th one, and I asked her, like, hey, can you do some numbers? Like, if we were going to do this low budget. And she did, like, some numbers. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was still bad. It was still pricey. And they were like, but what if we do the same numbers in Toronto? And then we did the same numbers over there. It came out better. We had a conversation with Ren, the writer. And he was like, I think we can do this. And we did it. We went, we shot it, and we have another project going on now together.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, another one after that one?
No.
Or that you got that one going on.
Yeah.
Which and in classic Enrique style, you chose the challenging thing.
Yeah.
You always want to challenge yourself, which is great. And by the way, I just have to say, like, we often get stories of people collaborating, months, like 6 months later, or like they meet again at a mixer, and you know what I mean. But the fact that you guys got it done so quickly, and
the festival was inspiring. In December.
Yeah,
we're in March. It's already shot.
Yeah, like within less than 3 months.
Yeah,
we went from
fast.
Script to screen. Yeah.
We're trying. We're really trying to have it ready to go by July. So I think like this is going to be one of the most fast-paced projects. I have a lot of stories from production that we'll probably discuss once that one's out. Well,
the only spoiler I'll ask about, and it's not a spoiler, is Ren acting in it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I really like his performance.
I like his performance, but because he wrote it, I wanted to hurt him. So you'll see. That's all I'm going to say. He knows. He probably will crack up, but like he got hurt.
Ooh, okay.
There's bruises, but it's very funny. Like, but
that fits his. Not that this is necessarily comedy. Who knows? But I mean, in The Trade, he's also kind of abusing his own character. Like he makes himself. I think in the things he writes, he sort of has fun with himself. Like he makes himself not necessarily the heel, but he kind of beats up on himself in The Trade.
He does, not the same way that I did it.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is that he just took it. He was like, okay, this is going to happen, man. And he was like, okay, let's try it. And then we were supposed to, like, because we had some stunts with him, we were supposed to just do like 2, maybe 3 takes just for safety. And I think we ended up doing like 7. And I keep asking him, like, man, do you have one more in you? And you're like, just fucking do it. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So it's definitely, I'm very, very excited about how this one's going to come out. Because it's one, so I guess to like give you more about that film, is 20 pages long.
Wow.
And we shot 20 pages in 2 days.
Yeah, that's fast.
So, and I cannot be more excited about the crew that we work with, about the result that we have on camera, that whatever we got shot, it looks gorgeous. It has great performances, I think. And I think it's going to be like a nice little piece. And like I came out of that film also learning a lot. I came out of that film like with a lot of school out of it. So I'm very, very happy with it.
Self-serving comment, but if you finish it around July, August, make sure you get that alumni code for Sherman Oaks, because come on, it should premiere at Sherman Oaks. I mean, you guys met at Sherman Oaks. Should premiere at Sherman Oaks at our 10th anniversary screen. This is our 10th anniversary this year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we're pulling out even more stuff. Yeah, it's
still December, right?
Yeah, still December. Yeah, so you might want to show before that. Obviously.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't know. Like my goal is July, but who knows? Like when we're gonna finish it.
I assume you're working with your editor, the same editor or no?
Same editor from the last 2 projects. Same guy. The only, for the most part, like same colorists and same sound mix, everything post. Trying to stay with like the guys that like already know my style.
It's great once you have people you know and trust and work with. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's like this very the people that I have the most chemistry. That's the people that I always go back to, because obviously, like sometimes I put like this like huge artist hat, and I start talking about like, oh, it should feel like it's a little bit more esoteric. Think about these emotions and like and then like there's people that get it. And people that really want me to like spell it out with real words, and sometimes I hate being too prescriptive, like almost like giving like a set of notes that are like cut 2 seconds here, do this, like do notes that are too realistic, because then I'm not getting anything out of it. At that point, might as well do it myself. So I like working with people that I can be a little bit more abstract when I speak, and then they give me their interpretation of what I said.
Yeah, in a way, you're giving them more freedom.
Yeah. So like, I know that like, because I work with people that are like, I try to be a little bit that artsy type of like, oh, give me more of like this feeling, and like, let's hold on this so we can feel the emotion of this character, and like, or like even the music is like, let's have the music feel like we're sinking into this moment. They're like, and I make it purposely to talk to them like that so they can have the freedom to interpret what I said the way they want it. And give me something that is very theirs and not mine. And then I work with some people that I have to go and like, hey, this music note should end here. It should start like, it should rise here. It should feel like this has to go under the dialogue. Like, like I have to like start really giving notes that way. And I realize that's the kind of people that I never go back to. Like, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll hire them if I have like a small project. I'm working for a company because they're very efficient. But if it's something personal, what I want is collaboration. Like, I want to be able to say, like, we made this film, not me.
Yeah, you want people who raise the bar.
Yeah.
Lift you.
Exactly. And I think like the film is only as good as the people involved into it.
That's the best attitude to have, right? Because it's the most collaborative art form that human beings have ever come up with, because every other art form involves fewer disciplines, you know? Whether it's stage plays, you don't have the camera department, but you got lighting people. It's nothing is as collaborative as film.
No. Nothing. And then like like in the last project, like talking to some of the crew, like, well, this is like it's an interesting medium because it's a blend of a lot of things that happen at once. We have artists, but you also have technicians, and then you have, it's a business. So like you have to think about like money, like where are we going to get the funding to do this thing, or are we going to make any money out of it? And at the end, it's entertainment. Is it going to be entertaining for some people, or like are we really just doing something for ourselves? And I'm trying to like have a balance between all of them. I wanted like at least my projects to feel like people can watch it and get an emotional connection at the end of the film. And I want to like respect like everybody's craft. Like when I'm on set, one thing that I make sure, the first thing that I do when I walk up to set is say good morning to everybody. Like the PA, the DP, the grip, I'll try to like say good morning to everybody individually. And then when I leave, I try to say goodbye to everybody. Because I think like that connection is like, I'm trusting you to do this job. I know the value that you bring to this project. Because even if he's like saying like, oh, it's just a PA. No, this is the guy that is making this thing run. He's the one that is feeding our crew because he has to go get coffees for people. Like things are working because we have that person on set. So the least I can do is like acknowledge them by saying hi.
Yeah. Do you? I'm leading question, but do you also say like, thank people too? Because to me that's it's always interesting. I remember once I was working with someone. I had someone working for me, and like at the end of the day, I'd say thank you, like thank you for a good day, and he said, I'm just doing my job. I'm like, yeah, and I'm thanking you for doing a good job.
Yeah,
well, he'd never had anyone be grateful before. Yeah. but it's wonderful to be grateful.
What I do, and I started this recently because I thought it was easier to put my words together afterwards. I send emails, so I do a thank you email for everybody. Like, and I try to like highlight some of the moments.
Right, you make it personal.
Set. Yeah, that are like this is the value that you brought to set. And I always try to say, like, even if we don't cross words during set because I was too busy or you're like focused on your craft, I acknowledge that you are like an integral part of this. So I was actually finished sending the emails this morning before I came here. So, because it's a lot.
Yeah, it sounded like you had a big crew.
Yeah, we were lucky enough that we have like a nice cast and crew. We're still small. Like we still didn't have a proper script supervisor. Our AD had to like wear multiple hats there. Like, but we had like a big enough crew that it really felt like our production was more expensive than what it actually was.
Yeah, that's how a good indie is done. Yeah. And to wrap it up, I'm just going to say, how cool is it that you have directed in 3 countries? And you also got to go work on a documentary in India. Like this is very. You are a citizen of the world.
I am. I'm a foreigner of the world.
Well, you're welcome everywhere.
Hopefully.
We
don't know.
There's a topic we can just avoid, but well, excellent. So, do you want to share? Is there a website or social media that people should follow if they want to keep an eye on what you're doing and when you have screenings and things?
Yeah. For the most part, like if you go to the mendozaproject.com, that's where you can see like the projects that I work on. Like obviously my background is editing, actually music too. And then you can see, obviously when I'm not doing films, I'm one of the creative directors at Crunchyroll, so an anime streaming service. So like I do a lot of like campaigns for them, marketing. But that's like more professional if you really just want to follow and see like where the projects are and like all the fun adventures, I guess, like while traveling. The only social media that I use is Instagram because I like be able to like share a picture of something. But my tag is DJ Urban01 because that was my DJ name when I first started. So if you really scroll down way too much, you might find some of that my DJ stuff. Because I started with like a musical background. But that's it. That's pretty much the only one where I post on social.
Cool. Well, we'll make them both clickable links in the show notes.
Perfect.
So that people who listen can be like, all right, I'm going to follow now because I'm sure when you have a screening, you'll share it. And
we're definitely gonna do a premiere here in LA and one in Toronto because we want to like be able to get the people that have collaborated with us here and the people that been there.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been to a few cities in Canada, but I'm ashamed to say I have not been to Toronto.
That was my first time.
I hear nothing but great things about it.
Yeah, it's my first time working there, and like it was very busy. I didn't get to be too touristy, but we had one day off and we went to Niagara Falls. So it's the first time also that I see the falls. So it was a very adventurous trip.
Very cool. All right. Yeah. Well, here, let me wrap us up. I got to put on my glasses just so I don't mess things up. But first, Enrique, thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah. And thank you, everyone, for listening. If you want to be nice, like and subscribe to the podcast. If you want to learn more about it, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. My wonderful podcast producer, Karina, checks the social media. I gave up social media, although I am on Blue Sky. So if you actually go to the DIF Wins thing on Blue Sky, I'll see your comments. But I can't help but share this. I gave up social media, and within a week, my brain said, like last month, and my brain said, hey, why don't you read a book? So I'm finding I'm very happy, and there's not many people on Blue Sky, so it's nice and quiet there. Yeah. So that's discoverindiefilm.com. If you want to learn about the nonprofit that runs the 2 film festivals in the Los Angeles area, that's the Discover Indie Film Foundation. So if you want to learn more about it, go to discoverindiefilm.org. So .com for the podcast, .org for the foundation. And the 2 festivals it runs, of course, one of them is Sherman Oaks Film Festival, where Enrique's film, Fervor, played. And we hold that every December. This year is the 10th anniversary. You can learn more at ShermanOaksFF.com, and it's at ShermanOaksFF on social media. Its sister festival that we hold every June is Film Invasion Los Angeles. Same team, same ethos, same everything, but different name. You can learn, and that one's having its 10th anniversary this year too. So that's filminvasionla.com and at filminvasionla on social media. I have to share the fun news at the end of every podcast that Film Invasion LA, for years, I talked to people about doing a second one. You know, if I meet someone and they seem trustworthy and they ask. There was almost one in London. There was one here. January 2026, someone who was attending the Sherman Oaks Film Festival in December. So in January of next year, we're going to have Film Invasion in Lima, Peru.
Oh, wow.
in the old Spanish Quarter, beautiful theater. I've seen the pictures. So it's going to be great. So actually, I'm flying to Lima next January.
That's exciting.
When I probably need to be working on the nonprofit's taxes and things, but who cares? I'm going to go have fun. So Film Invasion Lima is for real. I'm so happy. Right, Enrique, thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for having me, man.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. And the podcast after this one, Enrique will be on that one, too, answering the 4 questions that are fun to spark a conversation about movies. All right, thank you, everyone, for listening.